just like that, the Premier League season is well and truly upon us. It kicks off just a couple of days' time on Friday Night Football, where Vincent Kompany comes up against his old side, Manchester City, to open up this Premier League campaign. A campaign with new rules, with new refereeing ideas, and some new teams in there as well to discuss. We've got plenty to get through, and back for another season to criticise West Ham in any means necessary, and he possibly can. You're going to love watching West Ham next year, Sean, aren't you? You're going to absolutely love it.
No one's going to love that. No one.
I hope you're all well watching us. See, we've got in Terry. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I hope you are well. Evening, Terry. Pigeon for tea tonight. No such luck. Broccoli, onion, and cheese omelette. Lawrence, thank you very much indeed for joining us over in Kentucky. Neil, hope you well, mate. Oi, boys out, no Maguire, angry face. There's a few that share that opinion, that is for sure. Premier League preview is back, JC is back, Sean is back, and he's got his City stuff on. You have. See, you've co-coordinated that, haven't you?
Yeah, I do support a few teams nowadays, so I got.
Do you?
Well, I loosely follow a few. I get sucked into a football documentary too easily, so
right.
I follow all these.
Newcastle will be the next one then.
Oh no, not there.
No,
only have one Premier League side. I think you're allowed one per league, aren't you? Is that the new rules?
Is it? I don't know. James, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Sharky, the football is back. Well, you seem happy about it, Sharky. Well, I'm a little bit taking a step back and going, hang on, we could do with it waiting a couple of weeks there. Michael, thank you very much indeed for joining us as well. Kane out. Come on, why won't Levy just take the money? You thought he'd be taking the money, Sean. 100 million?
Well, yeah, I've always said about 100 million will tempt him, so I think he's got a couple of days to decide. I don't know. I honestly, I don't even right now. I think because Kane said himself, if he starts versus Brentford, he wants to commit to the season. So I think he wants to. Once he's playing for a team, he wants to stay. So what's it now? 5 days away. I still don't even know myself. I wouldn't even like to call it whether he stays or goes. I've got an opinion whether he should or not, but. Yeah, I don't know.
It's certainly hanging on that knife edge. Right, let's get into it. First up, we saw a few dark horses last season. Brentford, Fulham, Aston Villa getting into European competition, the world-famous Europa Conference League. Sean, your dark horse for next season?
Dark horse in what respect? Give me a little bit more information to run with.
All right, league position. Who do you think is going to finish up a little bit higher than probably the preconceived opinion would believe?
Tottenham.
Go on then, explain why.
I know we're going to do Tottenham at the end of the show, but with or without Kane, I think without Kane it's going to be a bigger struggle. I know. I just think they'll be one of the most entertaining teams in the league. Put it that way. That might not necessarily mean they'll be top 3 or top 4. That might be pushing it a bit, but I think they'll definitely be one of the top 3 or 4 entertaining teams to watch. The neutral might enjoy them a bit. They could let in 3 and score 4, one of them sort of teams until it settles down. But the reason I said Tottenham, because I think a lot of people are probably going to write them off a little bit. And I think they've only been out of Europe this season, the first season in about 16 years. We're playing Barcelona right now. The team we've sent over there, I thought we'd get stuffed, but we're 1-0 at the moment with a very weakened team against their best 11, I think it was. But the signings have been clever. Postecoglou's style, if anyone watched him at Celtic, is very, very attacking and entertaining. He will lose his rag on the sideline if they give the ball away, things like that. Before today, they've had 3 friendlies, and I think it's been something like 70%, 73%, 83% possession.
Couldn't beat us, so could you, Sean?
No, in them 3 games, I think they've had over 101 shots on goal. And I think so. It will be entertaining. And what with no Europe, you've got Villa with Europe, Newcastle with Europe. Who else? Someone else with Europe. Did Brighton get Europe in the end? Did they get Europe?
Yeah. Europa League. Yeah.
Did they? With all these teams in Europe that probably outplayed their. Like last year, they'd have been the ones that probably outplayed what people expected. I think they all those could drop down a notch, and Tottenham probably could go in and replace all three of them. Really, I don't think we'll be far with Kane. We won't be far off the likes of Man United. I don't think.
I think from the outside looking in, it will go one of two ways. It'll either be fantastic, you'll play some of the best football in the league, and you'll be scoring goals for fun and all the rest of it, or it could go the other way. Now, a big issue that you had last year, I thought defensively, I thought you were incredibly poor. Seems that you signed somebody to sort that out today.
Yeah, I think. I don't want to bang on Tottenham too much. I probably should have picked another team for this article. Really.
Yeah, you should have done.
I'll relate it back to a bit like what your lot are probably thinking at the moment. A bit like last year, you won the conference. You're a bit buzzing for that. But now we're back at the start of the season again. I think as a fan base, you're probably just feeling a bit down about it all again. And a little bit because the style of football's not great. And I could be wrong, but reading between the lines, a few of the fans not fans, but some of the players haven't even liked the style. I've had a few sort of, whether they're sure or not, that I can take you back from there to Tottenham under Mourinho. Half of the Conte era, players weren't happy playing. You don't become a professional footballer to play dull, negative, boring football or hoofball or dead ball. You just don't play your entire life as a kid to play that football. And we might not win loads of games under this manager, but all the players, believe it or not, look very, very happy. They're going to go back to a back four. The young left back we bought him 2 years ago, was on loan in Italy. Udinese, Udogi, he looks very, very good. Madison slotted in like he's always been there. I think we're going to see remember last year I bigged up the Basuma signing. If he stays fit, I think you're going to see why I bigged him up. So with Kane, I'm expecting another top 4 push. Without him, I still don't see us out in the top 8. But yeah, the only reason I picked Tottenham is I just think people will be looking at Newcastle will go again. Everyone looks at United, Liverpool, even like Chelsea probably get more attention this year because of Pochettino. I'll be shocked if Chelsea are above Tottenham. So yeah, I would just go Tottenham as the outsiders that could surprise quite a few.
I do think once again, I think we say it every year, but there's a lot of teams that we don't know which way it will go. I don't think we know what way Man United will go next year. They could easily go one way or the other. Newcastle, with playing European football, haven't gone crazy in the transfer market, so I don't know what. I'd probably expect them to go backwards, playing Champions League football. Chelsea, don't know what's going to happen under your good friend there, Sean, and yourself. I'm not too sure, what you're going to do. Will the likes of Brighton and Villa maintain their Premier League form? My gut instinct says no.
I'm trying to think of another one now because I think Tottenham is a bit of a silly answer and it'll rattle your listeners and watchers. Other than Tottenham, just to keep it very brief, I'm interested to see what the new manager does at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a bit of uproar when Gary O'Neill was sacked. And the man that has gone in there, I've forgotten his name, but he did very well in Spain. Yeah, he was highly rated in Spain, so it's quite a coup they got him. So that's the team I'm looking at. Burnley, I honestly don't have a clue, but obviously, again, can they be as good as Fulham last year? Things like that, I don't know. Yeah, so I'll stick with Tottenham because I think they will be better, even if Kane goes. They'll score a lot of goals. They will score a lot of goals.
Yeah, and talking of Bournemouth, of course, we've got them on the opening day. I'll be speaking to a Bournemouth fan at tomorrow lunchtime, live here at 1:00. So we'll get his thoughts on the appointment of Iraola. And yeah, again, Bournemouth, another surprise package. They're going to be playing a completely different brand of football to what they played last year under Gary O'Neill. So that, again, is going to be one to look out for as well. Let's take some of your comments. Peter, hope you well, mate. Good evening, young Jake, Richard, Sean, Pie, Mash, Mushy Pea, swimming in gravy, no frog spawn for me. There you go. Well, you ain't going to get that here, I'm afraid. 60 million for Maguire and McTominay, 64 million for McTominay on his own. We will come on to that a little bit later. Not happy about the Man United rejects, says Peter. Let's scroll down here. Pre-season means nothing. There's always a debate with pre-season. If you have a great pre-season, the whole fan base goes, yes, woohoo, we're gonna be amazing. But pre-season, I don't really, Of course it's a slight indication, but really
pre-season results don't always mean a lot. It depends, but when you get a new manager and you see a distinct change, complete change in style, which sort of matches what that manager's done at other clubs, then it's worth taking notice of, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that's a good point. Good point. Right, we will come on to that when we talk about Spurs a little bit later. We've already done it a bit, but very, very shortly. Let's have a look here. Peter says we should be looking for a new keeper amongst other positions. At the moment, I think keeper might be quite low down the list. I prefer to see another midfielder, a fullback, and a striker come in before that. Will Areola go in there straight away to start next season? Plenty of decisions to sort of discuss. How are we all excited by all these new signings? Lovely to have loads of new signings in, isn't it? You know, we've got a grand total of 0. Swiftly to become 1, hopefully in the next 24 hours. Hopefully we will make signings for fun this week. Well, we've waited 6 weeks to do it, so we might just start. You never know. Michael says Chelsea, Man City, Everton all under investigation for FFP, so all could lose points. I saw something about that. They didn't really do much about that, did they? They just probably 50 grand fine and that'd be that, wasn't it?
Leeds fans were clutching at straws with that with Everton last year. They get these charges, it drags on forever, then they get a fine, and then everyone just forgets it ever happened.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, he's a good player, Tierney, but he'll spend more time on the injury table than he will on the pitch. That's my only worry. Right. Anyway, moving on. See, Sean's nodding his head. It's the first to prove on the fun of the season. Gets in there. Right. We're going to sway away from the Premier League slightly and go for the domestic competitions. Quick fire. Are you going to say Spurs to win the Carabao Cup?
I am, yeah, you're right.
I can read into the future.
We've got no Europe. The manager is different to other managers. He's going to take every competition very, very seriously. We've got no Europe. There's no excuse. We've made the semi-final loads of times in this. Final, won it quite a few times, but final quite a lot. We've got no excuse not to go near the end. Obviously, most seasons now you have the big guns in the final, don't you? Really, it's not often you got your Man City. Was it Man City Liverpool last year? Is that another? I can't remember. But I can't remember what. No, United won it, didn't they? Did they beat in the final?
Yeah, United won it. Newcastle.
No. I don't know. Let's move on. So yeah, it's going to be tough. But yeah, I'd like to think. Obviously, Newcastle they're in the Champions League now, so whether they like it or not, the likes of these sort of cups, they might not rest more players. So yeah, a team like Tottenham, you'd think would go well in this, but yeah, obviously, usually you just say like Man City for this cup, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I think there's but I think Spurs is a valid point. Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, all these teams that people might expect to do well next year. They've got Europe. It's a whole different kettle of fish. We know that very well ourselves. It wouldn't surprise me if those clubs, especially Newcastle, if they're looking to go deep in the Champions League, will bin off the Carabao Cup. And I know they got to the final of it last year, but their priorities will be Premier League and Champions League, and they haven't made too many signings. So that might be where their priorities have to draw a line. Right, none of you are giving me any predictions. That's nice. Thank you very much. Mark my words, we will go all the way in the FA Cup this year. Yeah, we'll probably go all the way to the 5th round. Not much further than that. Yeah, I don't know. In terms of me, Carabao Cup, the obvious choices for Man City and FA Cups next. So for one of them, I'm going to go Man City. As much as it pains me to say it, it wouldn't surprise me if Spurs got to the final of one of these competitions. Without Europe, that's a big factor. That's a big factor. They're not going to have too much else to focus on. Arsenal will be in the Champions League, so I don't think they'll really be too well in this. So I'm going to go Man City for both of them, just because I just don't want to predict Spurs. So Man City Carabao Cup, Man City FA Cup, domestic double for me. Sean, FA Cup.
Oh. I'll go United, I think. I know Man City did the treble last year. I don't know. I just think it gets tougher nearly every year, doesn't it? It's like you wouldn't do the treble. You wouldn't do the treble 2 years on the spin, even for Man City. You think that would be impossible. And I don't know. I think I slagged off the Premier League quite a lot last year, didn't I? For lack of overall quality. I think we're going to go back to what it was about 3-4 seasons ago, where we had a very strong sort of top 8 and 1 or 2 at the bottom that probably belong in League One. Remember, and like last year, you could have relegated 6 or 7, couldn't you? Were they really poor? I think this year, we're going to go back to how it used to be. Like one might be relegated by February, and do you know what I mean? I think it might go back to form a little bit like it was. I think a few clubs have had a wake up call. Yes, I just think that I'll go United. I think Ten Hag might just tick over, getting the odd trophy here and there, which sort of keeps United fans happy for a little bit. But I think Man City might have to just. I think they still might start slow against City, but I think they'll have to up their game again. I don't think it'd just be Arsenal chasing them this year.
No, it won't be. No, I agree. Right, we're going to go for the Carabao Cup first. Wolves to win the Carabao Cup. Now, one thing with Wolves is I think that Lopetegui geezer, he's out the door. Gary O'Neill's going in. They're going to play some. I'll tell you what, they might be challenging us for boring football of the year next year.
I don't know if we're doing the relegation place at the end of this, but
we will. Yeah,
I'm not saying they're down, but they're like you just said with Lopetegui and the money's dried up. They've lost a best player to Saudi, didn't they? Neves. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but they're a team that could start to slide. They struggled a little bit last year, didn't they? But...
Yeah, I agree. Right, League Cup, Manchester United. Man United will win one of the cups, says Trini. Liverpool to win the Fiji Cup, says Sharky. There we go. So a few different predictions there. Right, FA Cup, Man City, West Ham, Chelsea will go on a cup run, says P. Gads. Trini says Man City looked very average in the final at the weekend. I take your point, but they didn't win it last year. I forgot who won it last year, but City didn't win it last year.
Leicester won it last year.
Leicester went down. Yeah, exactly. They went down. So listen, the Community Shield, Arsenal have had their fun, haven't they? And it is.
They celebrated that more than your lot celebrated the Europa Conference.
Exactly. And our competition, even you can say, Sean, our competition was much more prestigious than the dinner plate.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Here we go. Just
about.
Michael says Brighton, good outside bet. They would be a good outside bet, but they're going to lose Casado. I think I heard yesterday. So he will leave. He wants to leave. I think I've seen, which is never a good thing if your best player wants to leave. They will be a good side. They've got Europe as well, but they would be a good outside bet. I do agree. Let's have a look. Sheffield United relegated by January. Hopefully they'll be relegated by the time we whip out a Carlos Tevez Masters in January and make our long way up there. Newcastle to win the FA Cup, says Sharky. Does Wolves count as the first manager sacked? well, I think he's leaving by mutual consent from what I grasped. Don't know. Forest to win some Forest. Oh, hello, maybe. Sean shaking his head.
No, they're another club. They're in a bit of a financial issue. I don't know what's going on there either, because they had some agents and players threatening legal action, unpaid bonuses and things like that. I watched them in a friendly 2 Fridays ago versus Leeds as well, and they were not good. They were not very dull, very negative. Yeah, and they're another club a bit like Wolves. I don't know if they've chucked all the pound notes into 1 or 2 seasons staying up and now are paddling a little bit. I don't. Yeah, I'm not saying they'll go down, but they're one I wouldn't rule out against having a struggle.
Coming up next, we're going to discuss the relegation contenders. But before we do that, a couple of things. Firstly, Sean, you're going to have to pick a team that you're going to consistently slag off throughout the majority of next season, because you're in Leeds have now gone down.
Yeah.
Think about that one. And as well. So basically, we've set up a fantasy league for West Ham official. I've actually bothered to do it this year. Sean's chickened out of doing it because he knows I'll beat him.
I have actually done a team, but
have you done it?
I've done a team, but I did literally forget. After about 2 weeks of doing it, I ended up playing a player with the whole season with a broken leg. That's how much I forget it. I just don't change anything. And I've like 9 men on the field.
Well, I will make sure that you do get into our league. I'm going to put the link. So if you've already made a league, what you need to do is the link that I'm firing straight into the chat now. If you click that, then it will take you straight in and automatically put you into our league. We currently got 23 teams in there, so if you want to see if you can beat me, you won't, I can tell you that, but if you want to try and beat me, you can go on there, and there won't be a prize for whoever wins it. I'll say well done to you if it's not me, but there's no prize, just a bit of fun, and if Sean wins it, then well, We won't be doing
that won't happen.
Right, relegation contenders then. Well, or I think the way I should word it is the 3 that you think will go down, Sean.
I think Sheffield United finished bottom.
Yeah.
I followed them a little bit, but I don't watch TalkSport. I don't want to shame myself to saying I do watch it. But is it Sam Matterface on there? I can't remember. Is it him? I don't know. He was saying about Sheffield United. He said they're worse now than when they come up because they've lost 2 of their lone players back to Man City.
They've lost the striker as well, haven't they?
It was one of their best players just sold him to or about to sell him to Burnley.
Sanderberg.
Yeah, Sanderberg. That's the one. You could basically call that a Yorkshire rival and fellow team they come up with, and they spent. I think he said they've bought 4 players totaling 13 million euros. So it reminds me probably a bit before your time, Jake. Look, Middlesbrough up one season, and they looked like from the first game of the season, like they had made no effort at all to stay up. That they just come up to take the money, take the parachute payments, and go.
Yeah.
Now I can remember, but I can't even remember who was in that team now. But they were appalling. They didn't try to win games. Made no real effort to sign anyone. Didn't check the kitchen sink at it in January. I think Sheffield United could be. I said it earlier on. Would not surprise you if they'd gone early, up almost something like under 20 points. Bad, real, low bad. So
19th.
Got to chuck Luton in, which is I don't really want to because they're going to be. I think Luton might be one of those teams where a team comes up and you always like watching them play a little bit. I can remember maybe like Brentford in the first season when they were up. Again, a bit before your time, I can remember like the likes of Blackpool were in the Premier League when they were a bit gun-ho up doing everything. Bradford were in the Premier League and they signed all the likes of Lee Sharp at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? You get those sort of teams where they just give it a go. Do you know what I mean? You're like a bit of a neutral state. They'll give it a go. Luton's not. I don't know if you're going to go Luton away. I'm going to try and go Luton away, but it's not the most pleasant place on the map. No, if you can avoid it, I wouldn't bother. Yeah, I think a lot of people get behind them, but I just think it's just ended up be quality. Like I said, I think the Premier League will be stronger next year. So I think them coming up is possibly if they were in the league last year, I would have given them a sniff of staying up. But this year, I think they possibly come up the wrong season, and I think they'll go straight down.
Well, they're going to get a 3-point boost somewhere near the start of the season because we play them as currently scheduled as their first home game in the Premier League. So unless their works to the stadium aren't done in time, we will be their first home game. That'll be the same story as Forest last year. We'll probably absolutely batter them and they'll score off their shin, a win 1-0 and take their first 3 points. Listen, if we play them in their opening game at home, then we ain't winning. I can tell you now, we are not winning. So they'll get 3 points there guaranteed. Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with you that we all probably want them to stay up, but realistically, will they? I'm going to agree with you with the first 2. 18th, the final team to drop.
Yeah,
right.
This is not. It's not an easy one. This at all.
It's not.
I think you'll be fine this year.
Thank you.
I think you'll probably do a little bit better than last year in the league. So don't think. I think I said to you at the end of last season. I think you're almost on a rebuilding mission, so you'd probably take lower top half, just about mid-table probably, and go from there. I'll take a punt and say Wolves.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll be down there somewhere.
I don't think Everton have done much.
Everton's another one. Yeah.
But again, I think with Dyche in there, I just think the longer he's there, it'll just influence him a little bit. I haven't even noticed him signing a player, to be honest. I can't even think of who they signed. Yeah, I think the likes of Everton, Forest, Bournemouth, even with the new manager, I think they'll still be down there. But Wolves, I know Gary O'Neill did okay at Bournemouth. I did better than okay for a club that size. But Lopetegui, when they got him, I thought that's a good managerial appointment. I think we praised him quite a lot. A lot of their games, they're very low-scoring games, most of them. But he was picking up points, dragged them out the mess. Gary O'Neill going, I think I'll go with Wolves. I don't think they're going to be great. I think they're losing some key players. They took Matt Doherty back, who was at Tottenham. Then he went to Atletico Madrid on a free. So that's the sort of players they're bringing in. Yeah, I'll go with Wolves.
Everton will be down there. Obviously, they'll be, very, very desperate to not go down the season before their big stadium move down to the docks. I've seen a video of that coming along, and it looks all very nice and shiny. But I got some good news for you, Sean. You've taken the lead at Barcelona 2-1 at halftime.
That's actually. It's a friendly. It's if you ever go to Barcelona, I know you like your cruises, Jake. You might.
We are going to Barcelona on a cruise next year. Yes.
That's worth, because obviously that Barcelona they're not playing this in the new camp. They're playing at the old Olympics in Montjuic Park, at the Olympic Stadium. You're too young for this, but anyone around my age remember Linford Christie winning gold at the Olympics in '92. Montjuic Park's a stunning part of Barcelona. You've got the jumping water fountains that Freddie Mercury sang about. Just over, and you've got the best view of the city. Just behind that, you've got the stadium where this game's taking place, and you can open all the time. So you can go in there, look around the pitch. But anyway, that's where Barcelona are playing all their home games this season, and maybe next season. I'm not sure, because the new camp's getting ripped apart a bit.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a great little. I'm not saying we're going to win, but that's a great little scoreline, because we left about 8 players at home for this game after we played on Sunday. It's completely different 11. And Barcelona literally went full strength. But you had Davinson Sanchez trying to mark Lewandowski for their first goal, and that was comical. That's good result after time. I'll take that.
I've just had a look at the Fantasy League as well. We've had 3 new members in there. If you want to join our Fantasy League, just click that link and you'll get straight fired up into there. So who have we got in here? Lawrence, Trini and Luke are all in to the Fantasy League. Terry Newsham, I'm expecting you in there at some point as well. Will you be getting involved? Let's hope so. Right, teams to go down. Sheffield United, Wolves and Luton. Sheffield United, Luton and Wolves. As if I'll click on the comment. There we go. Bournemouth, says Terry. I think Bournemouth will be okay. We'll be speaking to Tom, the Bournemouth fan, tomorrow. I've just got a feeling they'll be okay, Bournemouth.
I'm a soft spot for like little seaside football teams as well, Jake. I like football teams and documentaries, seaside teams. You're from my neck of the woods. You got to have even though you got to have a little soft spot for Bournemouth.
Yeah,
you must love a little day out down Bournemouth for the football, scrounging a free ticket and things like
that. Exactly.
We want Bournemouth in the league. They're good fun.
Yeah. Signing Rice should just about keep them. Arsenal up just about, I'd say. Just about. Sheffield United, Luton and Everton. There we go, Sharky. I agree with you. You have got my 3 right there. Spurs and Chelsea to struggle. They'll be down there. Yeah, they'll be down there struggling big time. Can Luton play home games, or do they need ground improvement before they do? Those ground improvements are taking place as we speak. They've asked to play their first or second game away that was supposed to be scheduled for home.
Are the improvements not mainly for things like press and
cameras and media and all that sort of stuff? Yeah, I think so, because they don't meet the Premier League ground requirements.
Well, up to the days where, again, before your time, where you have commentary teams sort of up in a freezing cold sort of gantry up in the roof of the stand.
Gary Neville won't be having any of that.
No, he's not. Yeah, he wouldn't have that, would he?
No. Right, let's move on. What I scheduled in next? Let's have a look. European contenders. So 1 to 8. I'm not going to get you to pick them all out, but teams that obviously the big 6 go without saying. But that leaves 1. Sorry, if I count properly. European spots. Who else do you think might get a sniff to get in there, Sean?
I think the top, not in no particular order. I think we can't say guaranteed. In Champions League spots, I can't look past Man City. Arsenal aren't going to go away anytime soon. Although I don't think they might not be any better. I'm not convinced the signings they've made are going to. I'm not convinced the signings they are going to improve them in the first season, to be quite honest. And I know they've got Rice. I'm not convinced I'm not convinced his style of play will make them better than what maybe Thomas Partey does. And I'm not the biggest Thomas Partey fan, but I think he will suit Arteta's style more. So it might take a couple of seasons for them to get the best out of Rice and find out what they want to do. I'll be amazed if Liverpool don't come back. Klopp, they haven't done amazing in the transfer market. I think they're going to go Lavia from Saints, aren't they going to get him, Levay, whatever you call it. They haven't done amazing in the market, but don't forget they bought a few players the season or season before last that didn't quite. I think was it Luis Diaz? He got injured a lot. Nunes, the striker, he sort of hit and miss. I think they all come with a good pedigree. They all come with highly rated. And Cody got who had a bit of a run, bought him in January. I think they've got the talent there, so I think they will be up there. I think below that, so that's 3. United and Newcastle will be up there. I think Tottenham will be up around them as well. So that would be the 6, and that will depend how they'll go. A little bit whether on the strikers in the team, who's going to be up front for Tottenham? How's the striker going to do for United? Is Isaac going to be flying for Newcastle for all these games? I've read many places people thought that possibly because the league was a bit poor last season, like I thought, Newcastle were probably a season or 2 ahead of where they thought they would be. I don't think they were expected to go straight to the Champions League like so soon. So don't expect to dip off. So that'd be the 6. You want 2 more?
No, just one more will do. Go on,
one more. I think Villa again, because I think they've bought well.
Really?
I think they've.
So you think they'll go? All right. How far do you think they'll go in the conference?
I partly think Villa as well, because with the conference you don't need to go that strong to get a long way in it. I think they've bought in a few players. They've got Tielemans. They've got what's the centre back they've got? The Tottenham always think to Spanish one. Oh,
I don't know. They signed Diaby as well in midfield.
Yeah, someone are right. He's a Spanish centre back.
Pau Torres.
That's the one. Yeah, they haven't done too bad in the market. That's a centre back. They got him from Villarreal, didn't they? So the manager knows him. So you know what I mean. I just think you can get to the quarterfinal in the Conference League playing half a reserve team. You just can. And I think someone put in the comments about Chelsea being above Tottenham. I'm not seeing it. I just cannot see what they've done. I think they've had a couple of serious injuries already. I'm looking at a team and I'm thinking, what are you doing? Where's the signings?
No, I agree. I think to an extent the manager will make a difference, but he can only deal with what he's got there. That Nkunku's out for 16 weeks now. I saw earlier.
Yeah, it's Fofana, the centre back, still out injured.
Fofana's out again, so I don't see a major improvement there, to be honest.
I know they've shifted a lot of these ones on high wages out the door, but you got to bring bodies in to sort of replace them. I don't know if this is true, but they're after Tyler Adams, aren't they, at Leeds?
Yeah.
And that's only because he's got a £20 million buyout clause, which is why I tagged you on Twitter saying I thought your lot might go in for him. But I did read a couple of Leeds pages slating Chelsea because even though it's a £20 million buyout clause, they're trying to pay that in instalments. So, and I don't know. I just don't see them up there. And Brighton, I don't see them any better than last year. So yeah, it's probably a boring top 7. Villa I can see above Chelsea again.
Fair enough. Right, let's take some of your predictions in that sense then. Arteta doesn't know where to play right. I didn't watch the Community Shield. We were down in Weymouth. But from what I've heard from people, he was floating about all over the gaff. So they don't know quite where to play him yet. So I honestly don't think Arsenal will be good as they were. Will be as good as they were last year, in my opinion. How can they allow people to go through people's houses to get into Luton's ground? We're certainly going to be a different entrance into a stadium next season for Premier League fans used to huge stadiums. They got to go through the council estate to get into Kenilworth Road. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's the one.
I got it right. There you go. Good. That is off the top of my head. Aston Villa European spot. Spurs will even get conference. Don't bite, Sean. Don't bite. City, Arsenal, Villa, and West Ham will be in the Champions League. If that happens, buy a lottery ticket. I think it's 5 teams that qualify for the Champions League from the end of the season going onwards. West Ham Champions League after we win the Europa League. Villa in Europa after they win conference. Imagine that. Imagine if we finish, 11th or 12th, but we win Europa, we go up into the Champions League. Could you imagine that? Christian says, I think Villa could win the Conference League, but only if we don't drop into it. There we go, very wise. Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man United, Villa, Brighton and Chelsea for European spots. There. Let's have a look here. Rice is a great player, won't belong before Arteta finds him his best position. As an American, I like Tyler Adams. I just don't know where he fits into the squad. Yeah, I saw the link, Sean, with Tyler Adams. I'm just, whether it be is he a winger?
No, Tyler Adams is a workhorse centre midfielder.
Is he? Oh well,
he's when I slagged off Leeds to my Leeds fan last year, I just called him the runner because that's what he does. Remember I said about Leeds fans would cheer a big tackle more than a goal. He was perfect for that. He's not bad on the ball. He's neat and tidy, but he will just charge around the pitch. So again, if you're going to set a midfield up to accommodate a bit of one of like him, it's not easy to set up a midfield up with someone like that. And like Tottenham probably got a centre midfield like him, but he had some goals, and it's hard to set a midfielder up one that just likes to charge about a lot. Do you know what I mean? You lose your structure a little bit. So
yeah, no, I do agree. Let's have a look here and see what you guys are saying. Trini says, I saw that Rice looked lost and was struggling to get into the game. Yeah, and he got hooked before the end of the game. So he picked up his medal and he got his picture with his dish. So good on him. Zach, hope you're well, mate. He says, got to interrupt someone's FIFA game to check VAR on their telly at Luton. Very good. Ellis says, I'm at Bournemouth Saturday, can't wait, but a bit worrying without anyone in yet. Even if we do get players in, they won't play Moyes' way. He'll wait till Christmas to play them 2-2 on Saturday. If you've got a ticket, well done to you, Ellis, because there's not many that have done. I think we're all reasonably worried. Right, who's going to win the title then, Sean? Don't say anyone different, please.
I'd probably go Man City, to be honest.
Thank you very much.
But again, like last year, I don't know. It would not surprise me if they had that sort of little slower start.
There was some reluctancy in your voice saying Man City there.
I know. There was a little bit, but I think they will start slow. I think a few teams will start slow. I think my team will start slow. Apparently, the manager always starts slow. Might take a couple of months to get used to the style. I think your lot probably start slow again. Do you know what I mean? Because the ones that I probably Arsenal come flying out the blocks again would not shock me if they do. But then you probably got to wait till around about October, November after the international break. A lot of European competitions kick in, and we all know for a fact it's the last 3 months of the season you need to be winning games because Man City are just not going to drop many points. So if Man City have got a team in their sights, I don't know, 5 points behind in March, they're probably not going to drop a point to the end. So yeah, I'll go Man City to win the league, and I don't know if you're going to ask us after, but I think they'll win the Champions League again as well. I think they'll defend it. Yeah, I think they'll defend it.
So that leaves them odds on for your treble then, surely.
Odds treble?
Yeah. If you've got them to win the Champions League and the Premier League, surely they'll win one of the other two.
I don't know if they will this year. I think attention might just the league's going to be a little bit stronger, I think, and Champions League might be a bit stronger. I don't think obviously they're brilliant to win it, but the likes of Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern, Barca, they're not stellar sort of size like they have been. I think they won a Liverpool. They're always up there. They weren't nowhere last year. Look, I think Man City won a league where the strength in the competition wasn't incredible. These teams, again, a bit like the Premier League, have had another year now to rebuild. And I think it should be a bit stronger. I think the top 6 or 7 in the Premier League will be stronger. I don't see Tottenham and Liverpool were terrible by the standards last year, and I don't see that happening again. And you wouldn't expect the likes of Barcelona, PSG. I don't know if they're going down the pan or what's happening. But no, I just got a funny feeling a few teams might just knock them out of domestics. That's all.
There we go. I do think overall next year, I don't think we'll be coming on here every week and saying the quality is as poor as it was last year. I think there will be an improvement in quality in team. You know, I don't think Burnley will disappoint next year. I think they'll be, you know, maybe pushing top half of the table, dependent on how Vincent Company does. But I don't expect them in a relegation battle. Fulham are a team that I do think will drop back down. Just to mention them, obviously there's been murmurings of Marco Silva departing for Saudi Arabia. He stood firm, but I can't see them being up there again.
Mitrovic, is he off? Isn't he, Mitrovic? Is he gone? Is he off?
I don't know. Is he gone?
I'm sure I heard him say that he'd never play for the club again.
I can see that. Somebody will put in the chat. I think he has gone, actually. I think he has gone. Right, before we move on to the final part of the show, is 39 of you watching. Smash that like button if you haven't already subscribed to West Ham Unofficial. And the final call for our Fantasy Premier League league at West Ham Unofficial. Click that link and join. If I click the right link, it will come up. And join our Fantasy Premier League. And I saw somebody commented earlier on, Moyes is going to be playing fantasy football next season, and we will come onto that now. Oh, crikey, look at this. What's going on there? What Mitrovic will stay because he's in Dad's dream team. If Dad beats me next year, we're not doing it the year after. If you or Dad beat me, then we're not doing it next year. Mitrovic is back in training, so he stayed. Mitro is still there on strike a bit like Creswell. Just join your fantasy league. Thank you very much, Mark, and the other 5 or 6 of you that have joined during this stream as well. Right, we'll move on to a bit of West Ham thoughts. I'm sure you're bursting with things to say, Sean, but I haven't done a little bit of a roundup for a couple of days, so it now looks like the Alvarez deal is done. Vlasic has left, even though he wasn't with us last year. He's gone to Torino. Creswell's on strike by all accounts, and Scamacca's gone. He went yesterday. I'm sure, Sean, you'll have something to say about him. And now, you know, if we can get this Alvarez deal done in the next 24 hours, as it's being reported, hopefully he could be in the squad. I don't think he'll start, no way, against Bournemouth on Saturday, but hopefully get him in the squad, get him around the team. Yes, our situation is less than ideal. You know, that goes without saying. We are not in an ideal situation currently. That's all on ourselves for not getting our backsides in gear and signing players with enough time to get them on our pre-season tour. And I think, you know, maybe whoever has put the foot down over the last few days after that pathetic performance in Germany last weekend to Bayer Leverkusen. If that didn't give somebody the wake-up call that they needed, then I didn't know what would. And, you know, by all accounts, this is Noble signing. Noble scouted Alvarez, and Steiden gave it his approval. And it seems like we've got the deal done, which is good, positive. You know, I think he'll fit in well in the Premier League from what I've heard. 6'1". He scored 4 goals in the Eredivisie last year, all headers from set pieces. So you can see why Moyes has given his seal of approval there, and I think he'll fit into this system quite well alongside Paqueta. I think they'll work well, and hopefully we're starting to rebuild. Just, you know, 4 days before the Premier League season starts, starting to rebuild a squad together. Sean, some thoughts?
Oh, the problem is when you win a lesser trophy. When I say lesser trophy, I put the League Cup into that category as well. And it's happened with my club in the past. It's happened with a lot of clubs. Might have happened with Leicester when they won the FA Cup. It can paper over a lot of cracks for some fans. And it's great to celebrate the cup wins, obviously, but it can paper over cracks. And in time, these cracks can get bigger and bigger. And then before you know it now, what, you're 2-3 months on from winning the trophy, having that laugh in the Leicester away and losing, not caring a damn. Now the reality's hitting where you've lost your best player for the last 15 years. You've got no one in. In the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, we're not the most... We've got to watch Moyes football. So you probably... West Ham fans probably don't feel great at the moment. And when you see... I actually follow a lot of West Ham fans on Twitter, and a lot of them were actually encouraging the Maguire signing, things like that. Reading off, he's got 53 England caps, he's brilliant in the last 3 international tournaments, blah, 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 blah. That's great if that's what you want. International football is not Premier League football. It's a different speed. If Maguire comes in, I'll be astonished if Moyes doesn't stick with a back three, because that is Maguire's best position on the left of a back three. So then you think, then as fans, you've got to look at it. What's Moyes' back three setup like? Do we want to watch that sort of football? So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Like, you want these players coming in, but then Moyes, you said yourself then, Alvarez scored 4 headers. That would suit the Moyes style. When you said that, I thought, oh God, I almost thought again, like, is that what you want? The Ward-Prowse links. The first thing you think is he's going to hit in a good corner. He's going to score 4 free kicks a season. It's from the outside, it just looks a little bit draining the style of football, really. And I know you've got some flair like Paqueta, and I know I wind you up if he has enough. Yeah, I think he had about 7 or 8 really good games last year and started to come good. The worry is with someone like West Ham is because if he has another 10 good games, someone's coming in. It's coming in for him. So I haven't got many good faults for West Ham massively. I don't think you'll stay up fine this year, I think. I don't think, but you're not going to play memorable football, and you might not go to many games a season and be entertained, and that is the reality under Moyes. And at some point, is he in his 60s now? He must be.
What, Moyes? Oh,
yeah.
Shall I have a look for you?
I'm not saying that's old because Roy Hodgson's come back and he's about 75. But you're getting to the stage now,
yeah,
right?
He's 60 on the nose.
Is he? I thought you were older than that. But I know last year you yourself was even calling for him to go. A lot of fans were calling for him to go. It's probably the Europa Conference run that kept him in the job, probably. You're getting to the stage as a club where you might need to freshen up, I think. And what you don't want as a club. Oh no, staying in the Premier League is amazing. But what you don't want, you had those 2 brilliant seasons a couple of years ago. What did you get? 7th and 8th. You don't want to go back to being a team that's just going to plod along. Do you know what I mean? Sort of. You don't want to go another boring game. Oh, another headed goal, another set. You know, you'll always cheer goals, but it's just now whether I don't expect the owner, the chairman's not bothered in the slightest. But as fans, do you want to just play better football? Going back to the beginning of the show, when I said about my team, we had 2 of the greatest managers in the recent era, Mourinho and Conte. Not many Tottenham fans will tell you they enjoyed watching them. Oh. Do you know what I mean? So it's at what point do you go back? Just wanting to freshen up, really, and it's up to you as fans. Obviously, it's your club. I don't know much.
I think there is that. I think there is that sort of narrative, and where I think the majority, the very big, vast majority, would have preferred if Moyes walked out the door after the conference and went, "Look, I can't take this team any further than I have done. I'm going to bow out on a high." And I tell you what, I criticised him pretty much through the whole of last season, but I would have clapped him off and said, "Well done, fantastic." But no, he's done what I thought he would have done. He stayed, and a few people have already asked me before the start of the season, "Do you want Moyes to go automatically?" And I've said I'm going to give him the first 6 or 7 games. If I see no improvement, then I'm not going to be happy. Do I want to watch what I watched in the Premier League last season? Absolutely not, and neither do the majority of the fan base. But if we start getting wins, and if we come on air and we're winning 1-0 every week, and you're going, "It's crap," but we won, then I'm not going to care. It's a results business, and the worrying thing for me is after Bournemouth, I don't know if you've seen it, Sean, we've got a horrendous run of fixtures. Luton, and then we've got pretty much the whole Big Six back to back. So that's going to be fun.
I think in an ideal world for possibly yourself, is if trying to think what other job he might want. Maybe the Scotland job.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you the Scotland manager is currently. That's how little I know about Scotland. But I'm just thinking, if something like that comes available and it gets stale again, it looked stale last year. If it gets stale again, and losing your best player for years, it's a big rebuild job. And I did say to you, I'm contradicting myself here. I did say to you last year, I think you could be better without Rice. Just because how you set up. So it'd be interesting to see how it works. That's not saying Rice wasn't brilliant for you, but just the setup, how he just babysat the defence a little bit. Your midfield looked very stretched last season. Him and Souček looked like they were playing on different pitches at times.
Yeah.
You're an interesting club to look at, but with Moyes, you don't want another season where it's a bit draining, do you? Do you know what I mean? You don't want.
No, I agree.
And the Europa League, it will be a lot tougher, especially in the knockouts in the conference. Like the first round of knockouts, there's usually about 10 knockout rounds in that league. But you didn't really play a half decent team probably until the semi-final at best. In this, you will play teams that are half decent. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just the Moyes thing. At some point, he's going to go in the next probably 18 months. What you don't want him to do is stink the place out completely so you forget any good times. So, I mean, that can happen.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We will leave it there. Just before we do a couple of comments, Ward-Prowse is not in the starting 11 for Southampton in their League Cup game tonight. I did see that. That might just be because it's a League Cup. And to be honest,
they're playing all the kids. They're playing all the kids.
Probably. So I wouldn't read too much into that if I'm being honest. But will he come? I don't know. Peter says Alvarez will fail his medical as he can't cough. Michael says watching Wrexham and they play better football than us. Oh dear. Right, I think that's a good note to leave it on. Sean, thank you very much.
No worries, mate.
Indeed, I will see you after the first round of Premier League fixtures. We're in an ideal world. Who have you got on the opening day? Wolves, isn't it?
We got Brentford, I think.
Brentford.
Ooh. Yeah. If you want a little bet on that game, back 3-2 both ways, because I'll be amazed if we don't score a couple, and my defence is there and they're ready to not let any in. So
you're ready for the headline, Sean, and your system humbled by the bees.
How are they getting on against Barcelona?
All right. Hang on. Let me have a look.
Tell me 4-2 now.
I'll have a look. Just before we go, just to make you happy. Right, here we go. Spurs. It's still 2-1. We're back underway. Oh, here we go. Let's have a little sort of not bet because that's illegal. I'm under 18. Do you think Richarlison will score more than 10 goals next year, Sean?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I don't think he will.
If Kane goes, he will 100%. Okay. Richarlison actually suits the system quite well. His runs.
Let's hope he does. For your sake, let's hope he does better than he did last year. Because that £60 million not looking very good now, is it?
He'll score 15 plus if Kane goes.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think he suits the system a lot. That runs him. If he can stay on side, because he can have problems staying on side a lot as well. He will. I think he'll get a lot of chances to score, and I think he'll get enough chances to get about 15. If Kane goes, obviously. If Kane stays, obviously, Richarlison again will be limited playing through the middle.
Yeah. Richarlison will get more cards than goals. Very good. Thank you very much, everybody in the chat, for your contributions and joining our fantasy league. We're up above 25 people in there now, so that is very, very good indeed. So thank you very much, everybody, for doing that. From me, I've got another year of doing this. Sean's told me. Come on, you Irons. I will see you soon right here on my side. 3-1 Brentford opening day. See you soon.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Cheers, Sean.